Blizzard has confirmed that TBC Classic is a go, and with that, there's obviously going to be an accompanying 2.0 pre-patch as well. So that begs the question, what is the best 2.0 PvE warrior DPS spec, and did we get nerfed or buffed? Tune in and find out. Hey guys, Marrow here with another WoW Burning Crusade Classic video, and this one is the very first one after the official confirmation of Burning Crusade Classic. I'm not going to go too much on what was announced, but Blizz has confirmed that we're going to get a 2.0 pre-patch, and with that, changes to our talent trees. Now, we don't know how long this period is going to last, but one would imagine that we'd be able to get a few raids in to test out some of the new talent builds. But that begs the question, what is the best, PvE spec out there? Is it still dual wield? Arms, Fury? Who knows? Let's find out though. But first, if you like this type of content and want to learn more about TBC Classic and all the new developments, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Alright, so let's look at the big change that happened in the Arms and Fury tree, and there's a massive one. It actually turns out that Sweeping Strikes and Death Wish traded spots in their respective trees. Death Wish is actually an Arms talent now, and Sweeping Strikes is a Fury talent. And I honestly cannot overstate how huge of a change this is. So first, let's look at the pros. Off the bat, our trash clearing ability is just completely absurd now. Death Wish is a 3-minute cooldown that lasts 30 seconds. Sweeping Strikes is a 30-second cooldown that lasts 10 seconds. We're most likely going to get all of the uses out of the charges in that ability, and that means that when you have 15 warriors charging into a pack with Sweeping Strikes on, that is just going to die instantly, which probably is going to end up resulting in speedruns going at a pace that we have never seen before. Something to also keep in mind is that there's no more need to switch to battle stance to use Sweeping Strikes. In Burning Crusade, Sweeping Strikes can be used in either stance, which means that you're not going to be losing rage from pack to pack just because you need to go in, use Sweeping Strikes, and then go back in into Berserker stance. Not only that, but it's very, very likely that Whirlwind will gain its Burning Crusade form and thus hit with both of your weapons as opposed to just your main hand, which again is just an added bonus to our trash clearing ability. Likewise, our damage and cleave fights should go absolutely through the roof with well-timed Sweeping Strikes, and so on fights like Anubricon, Farilina, and Noth, you should definitely see an increase in damage. Now, the downside is that we don't have Death Wish anymore, and obviously this hurts. Death Wish is one of our signature abilities, and one of the big reasons why our single target damage is just so absurd. Without Death Wish, honestly, it just pains me to say that our single target damage and, therefore, single target boss parsing ability is just going to decrease dramatically. On several fights, Death Wish can have, 40, 50, 60, or even 70% uptime if your kills are fast enough. And so having it just completely removed is a huge nerf to Fury Warrior. Okay, so that sucks a lot, but let's look at, the things that we did get. And so let's look at all of the new talent additions that we have, first off in the Fury tree. First off, we have Weapon Mastery, which reduces the chance for our attacks to be dodged by 2%. And this is actually an extremely good talent, which reduces the chance that our yellow attacks, so Bloodthirst, Whirlwind, and Execute, be dodged by 33%, since their miss rate is 6%. Let's be real here, there's nothing worse than opening with a Bloodthirst and a dodge, or having that last full rage Execute dodge on like Thaddeus, for instance. And so this talent is extremely good at helping with that. Precision is also solid. I mean, there's really not much to complain about with getting 3% extra hit, especially if you're dual wielding, which again most of us are. So all around, decent talent. Next up, we have Improved Whirlwind, which is also really solid, and it reduces our Whirlwind cooldown by 2 seconds when fully talented. However, most people actually take 1 point into this, and so that makes it so that Whirlwind cooldown is actually 9 seconds now, and it really tightens up our rotation with Bloodthirst and Whirlwind at 6 and 9 seconds respectively. So honestly, I would recommend everyone to just get 1 point into this, which removes the problem that we have right now, where sometimes Whirlwind and Bloodthirst are clipping, and you gotta, Whirlwind comes off cooldown, and you need to wait 1 or 2 seconds because you want to get your Bloodthirst out first before the Whirlwind. And second to last, we have improved Berserker Stance. It just increases your attack power by 10% when fully spec'd into, and it also reduces all your threat cost by 10% in Berserker Stance. Not much to say about it. It's a really good talent. We definitely need a threat reduction, so it comes in super handy. Next up, we have the very last talent point in the tree, which is Rampage, and Rampage is a very good talent. It's not super flashy like some other classes get, like Mages getting, their Ice Elemental, and Boom Kings getting Tria, and Warlocks getting Shadow Fury, or Felguard, but it is very good. When it's stacked up, it gives us basically a permanent extra trinket. It gives us 250 attack power. Now, it is only usable after a crit, but it really shouldn't be an issue given the ridiculous amount of crits that we get from world buffs and consumables. Now, Rampage, even though it's not flashy, it's pretty good, but fights in Classic are very, very short, and so when top guilds are pushing 40-second boss fights, 20% increased damage definitely outweighs 250 attack power. So whether Rampage is better than Deathwish is actually just purely mathematical and dependent on fight length. For guilds at the very top with very short kill times, Deathwish will for sure be better, but this also means that at the very top, forces for Fury Warriors will most likely decrease. It means that your ceiling is just going to be a little bit lower. For guilds with slower kill times though, and on fights that are naturally longer, like Saf, Rampage should be better, but again, it depends on the kill time entirely. All in all, I see the loss of Deathwish as kind of a big blow to our ability to parse on big boss fights. What about the arms tree though? Well, they've definitely got some nifty additions, so let's delve right in. As we mentioned, the big first change is that Deathwish is in the arms tree now. We've just spoken at length about how good Deathwish is, but the arms tree completely lacks some of the other talents that enable Fury Warriors to do that much damage. And the biggest offender is Flurry. So I actually don't think that just switching to arms to get Deathwish is the right answer to put us back at the top. This for sure is a huge improvement in PvP though, and you can expect warriors to just absolutely delete any class in BGs to an even greater extent at this point. If you see a warrior with Might of Menifo and glowing hands, it's honestly just time to get the fuck out. Next up, we have improved disciplines, which is a really solid talent. In most cases, we're gonna have 2 out of 3 points in it, which reduces our cooldown on Wreck to 23 minutes, and most importantly, it increases the duration by 4 seconds. This is almost a 33% increase in the duration of one of our strongest cooldowns, and so it makes it a very solid choice. Next up, we have Blood Frenzy, which is the reason Arms Warriors are brought to raid in TBC. Keep in mind that a lot of the tooltips online wrongfully show that this talent only increases melee damage, when in actuality it increases all of the physical damage done by 4% to the target whenever Rend or Deep Wounds are applied, and don't worry, you're still never going to use Rend. And this is a massive advantage for us as a class, and it's a massive damage increase for the raid as well. You can imagine that with 15 warriors and God knows how many rogues, that 4% damage is going to add up extremely quickly. So I'd be extremely surprised not to see at least one Arms Warrior in speedrunning guilds if they're running in the pre-patch. I just think that the damage increase brought on by Blood Frenzy would just be way too much to overcome with any other, Fury Warrior or Rogue or whichever other class is doing the most damage at that point. Next up, we have Second Wind, which is an incredible PvP talent, and we're just constantly getting rooted and studying PvP all the time, so getting free rage and free heals because of that, you really can't hate it. Improved Mortal Strike is also a good talent, even if a bit uninspired. When maxed, it increases the damage done by Mortal Strike by 5% and decreases its cooldown by 1 second, which makes it a really, really good and solid choice. So this is definitely good, something that you're going to pick up on your way to your 41 point talent. And finally, we have Endless Rage, which is both great PvP and PvE talent, and this will likely guarantee that you'll never have rage issues in the pre-patch, even on Alliance side, as a single hit will most likely generate enough rage for to enable us to use our core rotational abilities, even with Food Glance. So with the new talent overview out of the way, let's get into the actual specs. So let's start off with Dual Wield Fury, which is probably the most straightforward spec. Since we do not have enough points to get both Death Wish and Bloodthirst, we instead go for Precision for an extra 3% hit. And for Improved Whirlwind, you could either go with 1 point, bringing the cooldown to 9 seconds, which jives really well with the 6-second cooldown on Bloodthirst, or 2 seconds if you don't mind the current clipping that we have between Bloodthirst and Whirlwind. Keep in mind that at 70, you're only going to put 1 point in this talent, and so that's actually what I would personally recommend. It also allows you to get 2 points into Tactical Mastery, allowing you to keep 20 rage when you change stances, since your rage is brought to 10 instead of 0 when you change stances in VC by default. Furthermore, it will be able to greatly increase the threat done by Bloodthirst and other abilities in defensive stance, which is super helpful when you're off-tanking encounters such as 4 Horsemen. And in the arms tree, improved Heroic Strike is simply taken as a filler. Now, to me, the real interesting spec is actually Two-Handed Fury, and this is where things get a lot more interesting. Just to get it out of the way, whether you take Booming Voice or Improved Demo is entirely up to you. Both are decent talents, but if someone on your raid is already running Imp Demo, then you can go with Booming Voice. And we're going to skip the boring part and actually get to the meat of the spec, which is Improved Slam. While some would say that it was never gone, now it is definitely back. When fully maxed, this brings our slam cast time down to a mere 0.5 seconds, which is a huge improvement over the classic version. Now, whether this will allow Two-Handed Fury to become actually viable, I'm not quite convinced. However, it will make it a lot better and definitely a lot more fun as well. Now, here's where some people might disagree with me. Personally, I don't think that going for Impale is the right play. An added 20% bonus to critical strike damage should not outweigh a flat 250 attack power bonus, even if Rampage isn't as easy to keep up with a two-hander compared to Dual Wield, and even if the fights are very short. So for that reason, I actually think that we can just, grab the extra 10% attack power along the way, and go with Rampage. Now, something else that I'll note is that I am grabbing 3 out of 3 and Precision for the 3% hit here. And you might be asking, Marrow, why is it that you're grabbing that? As a two-handed Warriors, we only need 6% hit with 305 weapon skill. And you'd be right. However, given the fact that the best two-handed weapon in the game is a mace, for which only humans have weapon skill for, Precision might actually be still beneficial and allow for just easier and better itemization by allowing us to drop hit items in favor of crit and attack power items. Not only that, but I highly suspect that we're going to get weapon expertise with the pre-patch, since a lot of talents rely on expertise. They just straight up give you expertise, like Defiance and the Pro Tree. And if that's the case, then suddenly Two-Handed Warriors just became a lot more viable across the board, because you no longer have that weapon skill weighing down on you, since using quote-unquote the wrong weapon type when you have weapon expertise is a lot more lenient than when you have weapon skill. And that's just to say that you're gonna lose less damage by using the quote-unquote wrong weapon type with weapon expertise than you would with weapon skill. So this leaves us with 4 points left, which honestly are just kind of up to you to allocate. As a two-handed warrior, I really don't see us heroic striking a lot, especially given slam. And so I think things like Piercing Howl, Deflection, and even improved Berserker Rage or even improved Cleave actually become viable choices. Or you could also just go for 2 out of 3 and improve Thunderclap and help your raid out if you want. Now, this is more speculation, but I do think that with the pre-patch we're going to get an increase in debuff slots to match what we have in TBC, which means we're going to get 40 debuff slots total as opposed to just the 16 that we have, which is just plenty to go around. And in that case, I think we're extremely likely to see a single Arms Warrior for the sole purpose that we are brought in TBC, which is Blood Frenzy. Whereas the number of physical damage dealers in TBC is slow, think of how much 4% physical damage to all of the rogues and warriors in your 40-man roster. Think of how much that would add. Needless to say, having 1% in the roster play this spec would just be a no-brainer. And this tree is pretty standard, as there's not a whole lot in the way of meaningful choices that we actually get to make, since we're focusing on PvP. Endless Rage should curb a lot of the rage generation issues that we have with 200 play, especially if we're Alliance, and Cruelty is a given, and after all said and done, we only have 2 points left. In my opinion, probably the place to allocate those is an improved Intercept. That's probably the best PvE benefit, but they're really up to you and where you want to put them. Guys, that was it for that video. Really want to know if you enjoyed it and also what you think of the specs. What do you guys think you're gonna play, and why is that? Are you just excited to slam with two-hander right now? 0.5 seconds cast time is actually super interesting, and I'm definitely gonna try that one out. But if you liked the video, please leave a comment down below and let me know. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell as well if you wanna just catch more of this content. Cheers, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.